Am I here? Perhaps. Perhaps I may not. I will never know the answer. Where did I put my phone? Did I not bring my phone over here? Why didn't I bring my phone over here? Am I a fool? I may be a fool. I did not bring his phone over here. Ugh. Yes, hello, hi. I'm not prepared. This is not professional at all. This is very much not professional, as you can tell by the fact that my hair is slightly damp. Um, you know, um, yeah, this is, there we go. Now I actually don't look invisible. Yeah, ignore that. It's my computer light. It's very bright, I know. Um, yeah. So I will probably, honestly, I might delete this immediately after it goes up. Um, but hi. It's late. It's not that late actually for me. Normally I go to bed around 2 a.m., so 11 is not that late for me, but I'm very tired. I had a long day of school and I'm like too tired to do anything productive, but I'm not tired enough to sleep yet. So my compromise is just like, you know what? I want to ramble. I want to talk to myself for like fucking 30 minutes to an hour. So hey, how you guys doing? Um, yeah, cool. So I'm here. You're here. We're all here, unfortunately. Um, yeah, so this is just a chill out stream, just to chat, just to talk, whatever. So if anyone has anything they want to ask or throw out there or whatever to talk about, that's totally fine. Um, otherwise, I'll eventually just start rambling to myself about something. In fact, I have something right now I can ramble about because it's really, really cool and I want to show them off. Um, so recently, one of my dear friends got me a really cool gift that I'm absolutely not just quietly putting on right now. Um, but yeah, she got me a very cool gift that I wanted that she did not have to buy for me, but she did. And minus some shipping issues that weren't her fault, they finally came in, um, and they're super cool. And I'm absolutely gonna wear them like immediately for D&D. As soon as I play in D&D again. Not for Haunted House, not for the one I'm uploading here, but for like the I play in a game of D&D over on Twisted Disasters Twitch. So, um, you know, if you want to check that out, maybe I am over there and I play Z, and he's got, if anyone doesn't know, he's got some nifty little claw doodads. Did I put these on right? I better put those on right. Um, and so I found these on Instagram and I was like, ooh, I want those, but also I got to be good and not buy them. And then my friend Holly, who's also a player in that game, was like, well, what if I just bought them for you? So I now have a full set of really cool looking little, oh, I realized it's a little cut off right there. These really cool claws. I have a set for each hand. Um, um, I have a set for each hand. The only ones I haven't been able to get to fit okay is like the thumbs. They're not perfect, but I love them regardless, and they make me feel powerful. So that's the important thing. Um, and the ones I've been able to get to really fit right are the thumbs. Um, both just because I've been having some. It's mostly because my thumbs are so long. Like I don't know how long an average person's thumbs are. Um, but like mine I've been told are just very slender and very long. I mean, I have dainty elf hands how it is, but like my thumbs are just very long. So the thing about these things, the nifty thing is like I don't know if you can see it, but these like joints here are detachable and you can detach them and like sort of resize them accordingly. So if you have like a shorter finger or something, you can kind of like take a joint out and resize. I think actually one of them I have is already somewhat disassembled. Yeah. So like you can okay, fuck you too. So you can like take the bits and pieces off and they're supposed to come off. Putting them back together is a bit of a tricky thing. But I'm not going to get into that whole rant of me trying to figure that out. However, the unfortunate thing about my thumbs is that like if I how they were when they have all four joints in is too long. They don't fit all the way on and the tips of them just kind of dangle off. They don't actually clip to my thumbs, which is a problem because they don't look right when these things are just flopping around. So however, when I took off one of the segments for it, they were suddenly too short and they didn't fit all the way on my thumbs, which was a different problem. So my compromise, however, is the fact that technically, actually, you know what, just because I'm feeling scandalous today, hang on. Let me see if I can actually put the rest of these on real quick. Just so I can look cool and flex and show off how cool my friend is for getting these for me. They're, by the way, they do very much go clicky clacky, so my possible ADHD is so happy about that. I love going clicky clacky everywhere with these bitches. If I can put them on. Once you have like part of them on, strangely, it's more difficult to put on the other half of them. I don't understand why that would be, but beauty is pain. Being super powerful, having golden metal claws on your fingers is strangely not always the most practical, but they make me feel cool, and that's what's important. See, we're already starting with the rambling. It's just because I'm trying to fill air because I don't want to just shut up and be awkwardly quiet. I always put on the stupid pinky one last, and this one keeps having troubles where it will pop out a little bit. And putting them back together with my normal fingers is fine. With the clicky clacky nails, it's a bit difficult. But shh, we're not going to talk about that. No one needs to know my beauty secrets. Yeah, listen, I'm just excited to wear these for D&D. That's my main thing. Listen, I'm learning. I'm gonna get to the whole point I had talking about the fucking thumb ones in a minute, I swear. Gosh darn it. Listen. My point is, ignore the fact that the pinky one's not there right now. The point was that I can have all of these, I can have the other four on while the thumb ones are off, and I can use my phone with that because I can just use my thumbs to type and hold them with my claws. So my point was, I don't need the thumb ones. You don't need thumbs. When you have eight claws, definitely eight claws, you don't need your thumbs, is what I've been trying to say this whole time. Thank you for coming to my claw TED Talk. Also, I think my roommate was judging me slightly about how excited I was about these stupid claws. But what can I say? I was ridiculously excited about these stupid claws. You're watching me suffer. Okay. No! Why are you being like this? Why is this one so refusing to not work? Okay, you know what? Fuck you. Pinky? Left pinky? Why do I keep forgetting to put you on first? I need to put you on first. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning. I'm learning how to use claws. No! Fuck. Okay. The popping off usually is not that big of a deal when they're actually on your fingers. It's getting them on your fingers that's the tricky. I don't know what this has just turned into me like being like I'm gonna ramble for a while to it's just me fiddling with metal claws right now. And you can't even see most of it, which is the unfortunate thing. But that's besides the point here on this venture. I also realized by taking these off of my little thing that I had them on to keep up with which ones go on which finger, I now have to reset those and hope I remember the order they're in. But nobody look at me. Don't see the man behind the mirror. It's fine. Everything's perfectly fine. Could just get this in. Can you stop being a bitch? Oh, you're gonna continue to be a bitch. Why must you continue to be a bitch? This metal does bend, so I know these are like adjustable slightly. I'm so sorry, chat. This is not how I expected this stream to really go. So no. I apologize, but also I don't, because welcome to hell. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Does this one go here? Sure. Sure, that one goes on that finger, sure. Sure? No, but sure. Also, why must my middle fingers also be so long? Why must my fingers in general just be that way? I don't know the answer. But I know that beauty is pain. I think it was this one. Yeah. Okay. I'm just vibing and art fighting. Ooh, art fight started. That's right. I'm doing that thing kind of. Art fight's fun. I did my first attack today. I have my second one set up to actually start drawing it. I just haven't got. I love these claws. I love them so dearly, but also why must they torture me in my moment of weakness? Anyway, art fight's fun. I got my first attack done today and uploaded. I have the second one set up, but again, like I said, I'm too tired to draw right now. So strangely, I'm not doing art fight at this current juncture. So instead, I'm fiddling with metal claws. Sounds about right. Anyway, oh gosh. You know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Beauty doesn't have to be perfect. No one has to know that my claws aren't precisely on my fingers correctly when they can't see them close enough. There we go. Now I have them on. The whole point. You are testing me. You are testing me. Anyway, I look powerful. I love them. Thank you, Holly, again. You're probably never going to watch this stream, but that's fine. I love them, despite my rambly frustration. And again, the whole point I wanted to show by actually putting them all fucking on is that I can use my phone if I have the thumbs off. Over here. Yes. Ooh, they're just like, they were rainbowy for a second. Cool. Anyway. Yes. How are you guys today, chat? How are you? Do you have anything you want to talk about? Now that I've rambled about claws, and now that I'm wearing the claws, and I just feel powerful. And again, if you want to see me fiddle with these claws even more, you should go check out Twisted Disaster's Twitch, because we stream D&D on there, and you can watch me be my D&D character who knows how to actually wear metal claws and looks amazing with them. And now I'm going to be able to embody him in my hand gestures properly. So that'll be extremely fun. And I have a feeling that next time we play a game, my friends are going to get so annoyed because I'm never going to put my hands out of the frame. They're just going to always be here because I just want to keep showing these off. But yes, come chat with me, talks about claws the entire stream. Listen. I love them. And they go click-clacky. So I'm just like, I don't know if you can even hear the click-clackies. Nope, you can't. But they do go click-clacky. I can confirm, take my word for it, they go click-clacky. But yes. God, I'm dumb. When I get tired, I get to a state where I'm just like drunk tired. So my stupidity is at like an all-time high. And it's just me being stupid while being tired. I also apologize if my eyes look like they're going everywhere. I don't have a good place to look. Like I know where the camera is, but it's in the spot where my eyes don't normally go. So I keep looking at like my computer screen and then like my iPad screen, but it's not where my camera is. So I apologize that I'm not looking in the camera very much. Anyway. Click clack. Ooh, vaguely. Ooh, no, why would you keep doing this to me? I will murder you. And by murder, I will not, because that is not a serious threat, YouTube. They are metal claws. I cannot murder in a metal claws. Please don't attack me. Um, anyway, so I'm mainly just drawing a future Star Wars D&D character my boyfriend and I are making for a future campaign. That's cool. Yes. Anyway, if you just got here, we're rambling. Morgan is tired, but not tired enough to sleep, so you will have to suffer with my incessant ramblings and my incessant need for attention. No, but actually, I'm just chatting, hanging out, vibing, messing with the metal claws my friend bought me, and forcing all of you to watch me fiddle with these metal claws this entire time. Um, but yeah, so if you'd like to ask me any questions or bring up any conversation topics, feel free. But other than that, it's just gonna be me having a fucking party, I guess. Um, and wearing these claws till I decide to take them off. So, which may be soon, because the tips of my middle fingers do not like these. They do not fit on my middle fingers specifically, but that's okay. No one has to know. The ramblings. I'm a tired person, or is it crazy people? What are we talking about? Nothing. It's just a whole lot of nothing. It's a whole lot of me staring at my own claws right now. So we'll get to suffer. Have you ever watched Astro Boy? I've watched the movie. Yes, I believe so. I haven't watched it in a while, but I have seen the movie. So I love that movie. But anyway, yeah, I love Astro Boy, the movie. That the only one that I've watched. I know there's other versions of that somewhere, but I don't know what they are. So I could I just ever answer a question? Like just answer a question. Like just say the answer and be done with it. But no, I don't. I just have to like I have to say the answer. That's the title. And then I go into my thesis statement and then I continue with the rest of my essay. That's how I answer questions sometimes. Other times it's just no. But other times it's just that's how I talk. It's just it's an essay, is what it is. So, is there a batch of D&D races that you enjoy picking? I've mainly been going for Tritons recently. I don't have uh I don't have any specific races. I like kind of playing around with different ones. It just depends what I want to make. Although ironically, I've made a lot of more like human characters. I don't know why. It's like I like the flexibility of humans sometimes, where it's like you can just kind of make a human anything in a weird way, and then you can just make them special with their class as opposed to like their race, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just a weird thing that like my first D&D character was human. Uh some of my other ones, a lot of my characters end up being humanoid, but I also use the weird ones, so like for me it varies wildly. In terms of races, the answer is no. In terms of classes, I have a habit of picking sorcerers all the time. So there's that about me. If I'm allowed to play a sorcerer, I will play a sorcerer. That's all I'm gonna say. But um that's just my personal thing. I don't know. I just love sorcerers, man. I don't know what I love about them so much. It See, I could say that mechanically I love just like meta magic. I think meta magic is really fun. And I also love the fact that I just know my spells and I don't have to come up with a reason of like why I am like oh, I don't have to change out my spells every time. I can just pick them and go, which is inconvenient when you want like actually want to change out your spells. But like I also just like committing to my stupid choices. That's also fun sometimes. Um but also I like playing more charismatic characters, and sorcerers tend to be con charisma built. Um which is fun. Um, but from like a story role play standpoint, I always kind of like the idea of people just getting like boom, you're powerful. Like not in a chosen one way, but more in like, oh great, I have to deal with this now, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. But like, I don't know. I mean, if it gives you any example, the one game that I'm actually like playing in right now, because the other games I have I'm actually running, but like the one game I'm actually playing in right now, I play a sorcerer. He's a wild magic sorcerer, and I love wild magic surges. They're fun, and they've made playing him oh so interesting. And I think my teammates are waiting for the day that he finally turns into a potted plant. It's got to happen someday. Statistically, it has to happen at some point. He has to turn into a potted plant. I don't know when that's going to happen, but someday. Um, but like I like that. There's a character I made recently who I would love to play someday. She's a shadow sorcerer, and she was a mortician, and she was a very normal person. And then over time, she became like super weird, and all of her coworkers became concerned because I became so obsessed with in the actual thing for shadow sorcerer. They give you a table of like weird traits to give your shadow sorcerer, and now, obviously, the intention was for you to roll and just take one of them, but no. I was like, what if I just put all of these into one person and manifest them? And that's how Dahlia was born. I was just like, what if I take, you know, your heartbeat one like you had a heartbeat once last week. Like that's funny. Or like sometimes you like oh no, that was blinking. It's like sometimes you feel your heartbeat and it startles you, and it's like it was so fucking funny. That whole table is so funny, and I'm like, what if I just put all of them into one character? And that's what Dahlia is. So she's like, my whole fucking thing was that she was just like a very normal person, and then like suddenly over time she just started becoming more corpse like and creepy, and she doesn't know why, her coworkers don't know why, but she's just kind of been acting like it's normal, which is very fun, and I want to play her someday. But yeah, I just really love sorcerers, and I could go on and on and on about it. I mean, I haven't played a whole lot anyway as an actual player. I've DM'd a lot, but I haven't actually played a lot. So like there are a lot of classes I haven't actually like properly tried. Um I think the only classes I've played like for sure, I've played barbarian, I've played um cleric, that was my first character. I've played bard, sorcerer, obviously. I've played fighter once, and I've played druid once, but also some of those were for like one shots. Oh, and I have played a monk before. And so like some of those were for one shots though. So like I don't know if like over time I would still love them or whatever. I liked playing monk. I liked I like playing barbarian sometimes. I like just smashing stuff. Um I think the only one so far that I like kind of didn't like playing was fighter, but I kind of suspected I wouldn't. Um it's like not even that they're bad as a whole. I just think for me they just don't fit my like my personal play style. Um I don't feel like I'm as tactical. Now granted, I do love to break the game. The few people I've been able to play with as a player know if I can I will argue to break the game. I will find a way. I will find a way and I will defeat you. um I will break you as a DM because I will find a way to do something. I will find a way. I will find that one thing where I argue for it so well and so passionately that you're like, okay, well, that's not how this thing works. That's not at all how this thing works. But sure, go for it. And I'll just like roll with it. Um, I've done that before. Um, gosh. Um, I saw like I some examples, for example. I've played there was a one shot I did with a druid of mine. It was the first time I played a druid, and uh she was super fun to play. But that whole thing was super fun. It was super stupid. We didn't even get past the first fucking encounter because we were all fucking idiots. But we were doing a little one shot thing. I was playing my druid. I named her Kelney or something. I made her like super last second for this one shot. And she at one point I casted Moonbeam. And I think that the rules imply that Moonbeam is supposed to be casted straight down. But it didn't say officially in there that the Moonbeam had to be straight down. It just said straight line, right? And so it also made some implication that everything it passes through gets affected by the moonbeam, but it's only in a 5-foot radius. So obviously they mean like long ways. It's got to pass through long ways. So I was like, okay, what if I just angle it right so I both hit that big monster and this one specifically, because fuck that bitch in particular. And it was like, God, it was just, I don't know why. It was so dumb. And I just love doing that shit. Another one that my lovely French Enema brought up was the time I summoned a rock. This was not even that long ago. I summoned a rock to solve a puzzle because we were not rolling well. And I summoned a whole ass rock to solve a puzzle because that's just what I do, apparently. And it was just like, we were having a whole thing because we were in a puzzle. We got trapped in a room. It was slowly filling up with water. And ironically, Gabrielle, I'm telling a story right now. Haha. This happened recently. Again, this is the game that my friend Mitchie streams on her Twitch. By the way, as much as I love the claws, I think I'm gonna take them off now. I apologize, but they're starting to become too distracting. But we were trapped in this room, slowly filling with water. There was only one door, and as far as we'd become aware, there wasn't any weird secret. We just had to break down the door. Now, the catch here was that there was like this giant magnet in the room or something. So we had like three, like not three. We had one of our party members plus plus like our NPC, our two NPCs were like trapped and couldn't escape. They were trapped on this magnet on the ceiling. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Brain is going everywhere. And we were trying to figure out how to like get out because already we had the strongest member of our party was trapped by this magnet, so she couldn't help. The physically strongest, I mean. And then we had like another one of our players like kind of just like dipped in the ceiling to hide. So it was just me and another player like trying to break down this door. We were rolling like shit. It wasn't working. And from the very beginning in this room, I was like, I have an idea, but it's stupid. I don't want to do it. We like, let's try and find a different way. So we keep trying. It's not working. Everything is pain. And like, so we finally get to the point where it's like, okay, well, what is your idea? Because we're like kind of screwed. And so I had this item that my DM foolishly let me have, called a bird coin, which essentially lets me summon a rock at will. It can't attack things, but it can like fly and it follows my commands so long as I don't make it attack anything. So it gets around. We're running out of time. The room's filling up with water. As I figured it was time to be stupid. So I look at my DM and I ask him, I'm like, DM, how big is the room, would you say? And he's like, oh, about like this big. Like, yeah, in feet. Like, okay. How tall is the room? Yeah. And I was like, in the background, I may or may not have like low key been just checking the dimensions of a rock just to make sure I was right. And I was like looking at it, and so I'm like, okay, I wanna summon my rock in this room that it barely fits in. The water displacement is going to be horrible because if anyone doesn't know, a rock is a huge it's like a huge monster. It's like I think in the biggest size class in D&D, if not the second biggest. And I uh I was just going to command it to break down the door. And technically, I couldn't command it to attack anything, but my DM was forgiving and said that, well, it's not technically an attack; it's just destroying a fucking object. Um, so we broke down the door like that, and it felt really fucking. It was so fucking stupid, but I loved it. Um, and that's the kind of shit I get into when I'm playing D&D. Do not give me stupid magic items because I will find stupid ways to use them. Like you might give me a bird coin because you think like, oh yeah, a rock for like traveling purposes. Like that's fine. No, no. I'm not going to just use that rock for traveling purposes. I'm sorry to inform you like this, but no, absolutely not. It's going to be used for some of the most stupidest things. So that's one of my D&D stories of like the few chances I get to play. Very fun though. I love that game. And recently it's become even more wild and I am so fucking excited for the next time we get to play. Because I genuinely don't know what's going to happen and I'm just like also my character got to a point where it's like has a totally different personality now that I'm still figuring out. So like it's a wild ride. It's a wild ride. But yeah. So if anyone I will stop there while I'm ahead before I get like way too into it and just like give a synopsis of our entire campaign. Um, but yeah, that's one of my many stories. I have many more from DMing as well from players. Oh goodness. But yeah, also click clackies are off. I'm so sorry. Perhaps they will return another day. But for now, no click clackies. What you find at midnight? What does that mean? Anyway, how are you all doing on this lovely evening? And by evening, I mean night. It is the middle of the night, but that's just for me. I don't know about you guys. I mean this in the kindest way possible, and remind me of my English teacher who's super cool. Well, thank you. Um, I will take that as a compliment. Ba, 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 ba. Sorry, I'm just checking something. Uh, again, like I said earlier, for anyone who was just popping into this, um, uh, immaculate vibes. Well, thank you, Angie. But yeah, oh my gosh. So, even despite the heat wave, I'm freezing and so bad. Thanks to crazy AC. How's the temperature for you? I mean, it is hot. I'm not about to reveal where I live, but like, the where I am right now, it is fairly hot, and fairly, um, it's also very humid, but that's been going on the past few months, like even before the actual heat wave. So I'm actually kind of cold right now too because our AC is working very good and I'm too lazy to go close my vent. So I just have to suffer in the cold. Um, I finally fixed my bathroom though. My bathroom was fucking freezing for the longest time because the vent was just wide open and I just left it that way for ages because I'm a maniac. And I'm like, so I finally fucking um closed it. So that it's no longer freezing cold in my own bathroom. Because it takes me too long to do these things. Um, best trap or prank you ever did? Like in D&D? Oh gosh. I mean, spoilers for anyone watching like my haunted house game. Spoiler alert. Um, but my favorite monster I've ever made in D&D, or my like, favorite surprise or like trap or whatever, has always been like one of my stupidest ideas. It came to me at like 1 a.m. while I was writing this stupid thing. And I my gosh, it was it's so stupid. But my most devious trap was always um like I made a mimic that was a toilet. So there was just a medieval fucking like toilet and it was a mimic. So like which has always been my favorite fucking thing because it was so fucking dumb, but it surprises people because no one suspects the toilet mimic. Um don't tell anyone I said that because it's spoilers for haunted house game. But it's fine. Um but in terms of prank, I've never done a prank in real life. I don't think. If I have, I don't. They never were that memorable. I'm not really a pranky person, so. Um, but like, yeah, I don't really do pranks per se. At least I don't think I do. Um, so do not have an answer for that one. Okay. Um, but yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. My life has not been the most interesting, but I've finished like um I'm almost done with like school kind of sort of. Um like not completely, and I don't want to get through everything just because I don't want to like completely like expose myself. Um but uh oh gosh. What was I saying? I've zoned out. I'm tired. Have I mentioned I'm tired? Um but I had like right now I'm doing some online classes and then I have my main school and stuff like that. And my God, could I go on a fucking rant about my but one of my teachers for online school right now because like I'm doing 3 classes. Two of them have been nice. They've been very nice and very doable, even though I hate one of the subjects that I'm doing in one of those. But the last one is like made me angry, like made me extremely angry and wish many inconveniences to happen to my teacher. And I mean that in like not a threat type of way, but also just frustration, just pure frustration. Um, my God. Also to Angie, bestie, you don't have to answer if you don't want to. If you don't want, but are you fruity in any way? That is the most interesting way I've ever been asked that question. But yes, I am gay. I like men. Thank you for asking. I'm assuming that's what you're asking. I don't know how any other way to interpret that. So, but yeah. But yeah, I could go on a whole fucking rant about this one teacher because she's been driving me nuts. And I'm like, uh, because like you got two other teachers who are like very understanding that the people taking online classes right now are not are busy people. They are grown ass adults with grown ass adult lives. They are busy. They have things to do, whether it be work or like lives in general. um And so, like, you have two teachers who've been very understanding about that. They've given us all of our assignments like way ahead of time, so we can do them as ahead as we want to. Very forgiving about stuff. Um, very relaxed, whatever. And then you have my last teacher, and then you who seems to think that the world just revolves around her class and has given us long, like, complex assignments with 3 days to do them, which is hard when you have other school also happening at the same time. Not only online classes, but just general school. And I'm like, general college is what I should even put it as. It's not even just like school, it's a college. And it's like, and this woman, I haven't even, it's not even like bad. I'm not like failing the class. I'm not like doing poorly because of this. I'm not even struggling. It just makes me mad. It is purely frustration because, like, because granted, I'm like already gotten like I'm already like over halfway done with like this online school stuff because it was like 8 weeks, so like very fast, like literally 2 months, and I'm already almost done with it. And by the way, Mitchie, I'm ranting about school again, among other things. And um, so I like fucking I just like because I don't know why my brain can't like go, but like it's just so annoying because like again, I'm doing fine and I'll be fine because thankfully this frustration is for a class that like it's for English. It's for my English writing whatever class, and like so it's not like that's a class I can very easily get through with like mostly bullshit, if that makes any sense. I'm very good at like kind of BSing papers and like kind of making them seem convincing, even when they're not completely like 100% genuine. I don't want to say not genuine, but like, because it's not like I'm cheating. I want to clarify. I'm not like cheating or plagiarizing or anything like that. I have to say that for legal reasons. Legal reasons, I guess. But I mean more like I can just like type things and I'm like, I just kind of go with it. And it's just like, it's just playing improv with risk. So like, yeah. So I'm not failing that class and I have a strong feeling I'm going to pass it. I just really, I really, I'm really annoyed with my teacher. Just extremely annoyed that she just doesn't seem to have a concept that we could have anything else to do other than her English class. And she's just lucky during my actual school I have time to like pause and like actually do my online school stuff. Because it's been keeping me a little ahead. I wouldn't need to do that if it wasn't for this English class. So I just hate it. I'm just so annoyed about it. And I'm just ugh. Good night, Chinamo. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to my rant about school and English specifically. You know it's bad when I have to say that English is more frustrating than math. The math's been okay. And I can't believe I'm saying that. I just it's almost done. I have like a few more weeks left. I literally have about like four or less at this point. So I'm getting there and I'm keeping on top of it, which is impressive. So the benefit though is because if I do it this way, then I have classes that are going to happen like next semester, like in the fall. And if I do these and I pass them and it's all good, it means that this fall I'm only going to have a few like classes to take, which means my schedule is so free. And by God, am I gonna do so much fucking D&D this fall? That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna have so much time for bullshit D&D nonsense, which is delightful. So, ending that on a positive of D&D. Also, this is completely irrelevant to everything I've been talking about, but I've just remembered that I've been watching JoJo recently with my roommate, and I don't know why I thought about that during that rant, but I did. I love JoJo. I also realized my hair is not at the right. I should be doing like that because my hair is not. It keeps covering my face. Not that it matters, but I have a face. And again, I'm sorry that I can't look at the like look into the camera to save my life. Um, Goodness. How are you guys doing? I don't know how much longer I'm gonna do this for. Um, Probably just a little bit. OTPs. I don't really have any. I'm not really like just full honesty. I don't really associate myself into fandom culture like at all anymore. So unfortunately, I do not have an answer for that. Um, I've kind of just like it's a long rant, but I just unfortunately that's not unfortunately just not something I really associate with much or think about very much anymore. Um so unfortunately the answer is I do not have any OTPs particularly. Ba-ba. Get- God, so many gnats. Why have there been so many gnats? Ugh, so many gnats. They bother me. Yeah, it's a lot. It's not even like any specific story even. Um, it wasn't like some incident that like tainted everything for me or whatever. It was mostly like a just a combination of so much shit. I was realizing that it was like tainting the stuff I liked so much. And it was also like it's also just like a bad way to just view media in general for me at least. And like it was tainting the stuff that I liked, and it was like making me think too hard about stuff, and it was making me like just making me like sad and frustrated. And I'm like, as well as just like in it was one of those things where it's like I realized one day that like there are some things I like that are like I wouldn't call them niche per se, but they do not have a fan base. Like not in the way, traditional sense on the internet. Um but uh but they weren't widely talked about, I guess is the best way to put it. They were like like I would watch them, I would enjoy them, I would whatever, I would read them, and I would bring them up to people, and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And I was like, it would always make me sad because I'm like, "Oh, I wish I could talk about these things I like with people who actually know what they are." Um, but I realized after a while that maybe that was a good thing because like I look at some of the media that I like and the media that like I really love, and I'm thinking like, God, it would be a fucking nightmare if like people got into ship wars and started making these long rants about how X, Y, and Z is problematic or whatever for like weird reasons because we can't differentiate things apparently. And like it was just that moment I realized like, you know what? Maybe fandoms are not helping me. Like and I no that's absolutely no shade to people who find like um genuine like love and passion in fandoms. People absolutely do. Um which is super awesome for them. It's just unfortunately for me that was just not ended up not being the case. Especially unfortunately after like especially after the shit with like my own experience just being like in with Steven Universe and stuff and like even doing fan art and stuff for it. Because like God man, I'm just like I like doing fan art on the rare occasion, but it takes a lot for me to get inspired. Um, but my God, when people like associate you with something, it's like, especially like a fandom type thing, it's like impossible to just like ever bury that, you know? Because like It's not even that I have, like, any shame for, like, the old Steven Universe content I made at all. Like, I have no shame about it, but I'm not joking when I said years after I, like, started distancing myself from that content or stopped making it, people would constantly, constantly, like, to like bring it back up, like, when are you going to resume doing that, like, when are you going to do this, when are you going to do that, and like, and there were other people who their first introduction to me as a person was through that content, and so that's all they associated me with, and I realized, like, man, I really don't like that. Like, I don't, it's why, like, now I don't know if anyone's noticed, but on my channel I did a bit of a purge because I haven't removed most of my content, but I unlisted pretty much everything except for like a few select things as well as my current D&D thing that I'm running. Because I want to pivot my channel more towards like D&D content. Obviously this isn't like D&D content strictly. Um but like I just it's like I just how can I put this? It was just it was a frustrating time when it felt like um all people associated me with was like Steven Universe, and like it felt like I couldn't get away from it. And I had that slightly um when I was younger with like warrior cats, as funny as it sounds, but not nearly as extreme. Because with warriors, the issue was less that I was no longer doing like warrior cat stuff. It was more that I was pivoting from drawing cats to humans. And so people who followed me because I drew like artwork of cats were a bit like not as interested in me drawing like my human characters and whatnot. Um, like so completely different situation with the Steven Universe stuff. It was just like there were just people who like just didn't want to see anything from me if it wasn't related to that. And I'm like, and unfortunately, I think it just put a bad taste in my mouth about like doing fan art like that again. And I still do it sometimes. Like I mentioned, I'm watching JoJo earlier, and I've really been in the mood of like at some point I think I'm gonna do more like JoJo fan art. Um, because I love the show and it's very fun. Um, and some of the character designs are just like I just need to logic them in my brain. It's like it makes me happy. Um, but and I'll do like occasional fan art or gift art or whatever, but like no, I don't think I'll ever do anything as like consistent or as like dedicated as like the Steven Universe stuff I did was, because I don't want to go down that hell again where people just associate me with that one thing and just never let it die, because my god was it a little frustrating for a long time. um but yeah, um plus just even from afar there were just other fan bases that I was just like I had no interest in, even just like seeing the fan like the fandom stuff like just through Twitter and things like that. God, it's just all icky to me. And also I'm like, God, I don't want to do that rant right now. I don't want to rant about what I was thinking about right now. But like as a different note, on the same subject, it was like I just watching fandom discourse is painful sometimes because it just all it makes me think about is like, wow, there's just really nothing else that concerns people. Like there's just nothing else to do. Um and it's fine if you have your like your interests and your things that make you happy. It should make you happy. Um but it shouldn't like but people get like way too into it. They take things way too seriously. Like it's one thing to have like a polite debate about like differing stances about like an interpretation of a show or like your own personal fucking head canons or whatever the fuck. But like it's absolutely like a different story when people get in like literal like fucking bloodbath fights over bullshit. And it's just like, God. I just don't vibe with it. I'll just put it like that. I just do not vibe with the fandom discourse most of the time. It's just frustrating. I really came to your channel for Steven Universe content, unfortunately, but I did find some stuff to watch some of your newer, more recent content, such as DNZ stuff and live. Well, thank you, Gabriel. Gabriel, Gabriel, Gabe. Sorry. But like, the thing is, I should clarify. I don't even regret doing my Steven Universe stuff at all because technically, the reason I met a lot of my friends is because of Steven Universe stuff. Um, I met some friends on DeviantArt because we had like gem courts or whatever. Like a long time ago, I met Mitchie through it because she'd seen, I think, one of my Steven Universe videos. Um, and that basically had a domino effect in us meeting. Um, but like, uh, gosh, but like, so I don't regret it at all. It frustrates me how people behave and how people like, and I understand absolutely the fact that like, you follow somebody for certain type of content, and when they do stuff that you're not really as interested in, you know, that sucks. But like, they but there's like a difference between deciding like, okay, this creator is now doing content that's in a different like category than the stuff I like and the stuff I came here for. I'm gonna now unfollow them or move on because this is not the content I came for. That's fine. It's a different story when you bother that creator and you essentially tell them how they shouldn't be doing the thing that they're doing right now because it's not what you want to see. You want to see the stuff you followed them for, and you're upset that they just don't want to do that. And like, so it's just a completely different case. And it's frustrating. Tyler recent vid reminds me of The Haunting of Hill House, which I super recommend. Yeah, I've seen Haunting of Hill House. Mitchie actually showed it to me and my friend when we came to visit once. Is very good. I love it. Um love it very much. And I was typically fucking horror very like horrors. It's gonna sound very ironic. I don't typically like horror. I love horror as a genre and as an art form, but I don't typically like horror in general. I don't typically like horror movies. I don't typically like horror shows, stuff like that. If I like watch a horror game, it usually has to be like secondhand. So like somebody else, like I'm watching a let's play and whatnot. Um it's just because I don't personally like the experience of actually like genuinely being scared most of the time, with like few exceptions. But I love horror and I respect it to hell as like an actual art form. Like I fucking love the SCP wiki. I love Haunting of Hill House is very good, is very fucking good. Um I respect a lot of it as like in art form in general. Like I like actually going on deep dives about analysis about like horror related content because it's fascinating to me, and I like analyzing the ways that you can make people scared and make people feel fear in a way that's fun and not traumatizing sometimes. But like, yeah. So, but yeah. Um, well, I mean, honestly, that's probably reflected in the actual fucking Strange House on Sparrow Hill, because it is supposed to be a horror campaign, but the horror is like so sparse and minimal because I myself am just like, I lean into silly things too much. I can write some serious shit, but like especially with D&D, it's just my funny bone just loves to have a fucking ball. I just fucking like I get so goofy with D&D sometimes. um there's like I have a game, like I want to do like an actual serious game, like a strictly serious full campaign someday, but my god, is it hard. Like I have a game right now, one that I'm not recording and uploading to YouTube. I've been running this one slightly longer than the Strange House in Sparrow Hill. I have one called Warlock's Oath, aka the Babysitters, which is one I've been running for some friends from school and stuff like that, which is super fun. And that one's been probably the biggest experiment I've ever had with a game because I have DM'd before and I've DM'd one shots, I've DM'd for uh, different types of things and whatnot. But at the time, I hadn't had a game last very long. And the only games I had that lasted like fully to completion kind of didn't end extremely well, unfortunately. Um, Not that I'm going to get into that. That's not like tea I need to share on this sort of live stream. But like, they just weren't like they weren't games I felt completely proud of, both of myself, but also just everything in general, without getting too much into it. Um, but like Warlock's Oath though was like the first game that I've run. First of all, it's the first online game I've run that hasn't had issues of whatever form, including ones I've played in, because I have played in other online games as well. And unfortunately, I've realized some things. For example, I've realized that I do not like running games without um, without webcams and without face cams. Um, Unless it's with people that like I know are energetic and I can trust, or if we have something else we can look at the whole time. But even then, I like running them with face cams because I think it helps with role play a fucking ton. I think it helps players connect with each other more. Just in general, I've noticed I've had games that go a little bit better when you can actually webcam as opposed to um just doing voice call with no face cam, no nothing. Um but Warlock's Oath was probably the first game I've run that like went longer than like 3 or 4 sessions. And I think we were on like what fucking oh my god, how long has it been? I think we're on session like 11 or 12 now. Maybe even 13, maybe, I can't remember. And so we've been going through like we've been having a fucking party with it. And it's been so fun. But because of that, because this is the first time I've had a game that's like run so long and I've been actually able to do so much with, um, it's really let me be able to experiment. So it went from being like a really silly idea, like this meant to be super lighthearted, to where it's like I figured out how to put an actual serious story and plot in there. Um, which was not the intention originally, but it's working. So, and I know like how that story's going to end. I just got to figure out how to get there. Um, but because I've had that experience now, and then now I'm running Strange House on Sparrow Hill, which this is the second time I've actually run that game. The first time I did it was a while back, and it was strictly online. I didn't record it or anything like that. But it was but so this is the second time I'm running it, and my God, has it been so fun and so delightful. And I'm like, the stuff I've been learning has been great. To finally have some like really nice, solid, like consistent games and stuff like that. Oh gosh. But I like but my whole moral the whole roundabout thing I was getting to is that I'm super excited now that I've had this experiment and all of this, is because I think like probably this fall or something, maybe. Um, at some point, I think I want to run like my first more serious like dedicated story at some point. Um, that's like more solid and uh like more solid and more like large scale than some of the other ones I've been doing. Not that the smaller ones haven't been fun, or like that the smaller like more ridiculous ones like Warlocks um haven't been like super fucking fun to just build from the ground up. But like I want to run one that's like a bit more like serious, like still with funny. I Full disclosure, I don't think it's possible for me to run a D&D game without having just some of the most like ridiculous shit. It's just like I think it's physically impossible. It's just not a part of my being. Um but my god, like Uh, but I've wanted to run one that's like more serious and one that I've thought about more and has more like world building and more structure to it. And is less of a mess. And is better thought through and is better foreshadowing. Um, which I've been learning a lot with warlocks. Um, which I have a few ideas. I've just been waiting because like I've also been it's also players make me nervous too when I'm having to get players because my worst fear is to take one of my bigger ideas, the one I'm super excited about, that has all of this work already put into it, even before I start setting up a game, and then like set everything up, get everybody involved, start the game, do it, and have like something happen that like makes the group implode or cause the game to fizzle out. So I've been waiting to actually make sure I get like the right group of players, like people I know I can rely on, I know I can trust. I know that like if things happen, it's going to end maturely and it's not going to be like a big stink. As well as consistency is also a big issue as well with D&D. If anyone's ever played D&D, you know consistency with scheduling is a bit tricky. Because like uh I can manage having like some games missed, but I've learned with myself that like if games get skipped a little bit too many times and they're always skipped because of last minute cancels or last minute choices, um it kills my vibe a lot. um but like it's just one of those things where it's like I don't want to have one of my bigger stories like become tainted for me in the soul because of an unfortunate series of events. I always wanted to play D&D, but no one ever really invited me. And I offered to make cookies and Chex Mix, but no one ever invited me, and I didn't have. I mean, listen, honestly, JMB Studios, I get the feeling. I, because the reason why, like, I have more experience DMing than actually playing the game, shockingly, is because among a lot of my closer circles of friends, I'm like the only one who really wants to DM sometimes, or is willing to even, uh, which is fine. I love DMing, but I've had an issue before too where people like I um like how do I put this? It's like I would never get invited to games. It was always like I was the one setting up the groups. Um I was the one putting in the work to like find the players and set up the game and put in the work to DM and like making everything. And I never really had people who would do the reverse, like actually invite me to a game and like offer for me to play on something and they take the initiative to actually like set up the game. um which is fine. It's not something I was mad about or like pressed about ever. It was just like it sucked. Like it was a sucky feeling to feel like you're the only person willing to like put in that work to set up a game. um I mean, I get why. DMing's a fucking hard ass shit, you know, especially if you've never fucking done it before. Um, Now it's a bit different because I've had more chances to play, and I have a game that I've been consistently playing in, which has been super fun. And hopefully, I'll have another one, maybe, if my friend decides to follow through with it. But yeah, I get that. It sucks to not be invited and whatever, but sometimes it's just like if you want to play, you got to put yourself out there sometimes though too, unfortunately. um and now I apologize for having to cancel sessions for. No, Scott, you're not the problem. You've always told me like usually very far in advance. Trust me, it's not. I do not mind if sessions are canceled because of something I knew a week beforehand, or even the few days beforehand. And even the rare like last minute cancellations, okay. It's just like I've had a game before, like if anyone remembers on my channel, we were doing a glorified tabletop role play. One of the reasons that died was because we could not for the life of us keep a consistent schedule. It was a lot of like even when we did have a proper date set up, we either didn't get everybody to confirm it fast enough, or we didn't get, like, we'd have somebody who would have to drop out last second. And after a while, after having cancellation after cancellation after cancellation, I lost my drive for it completely, which is on me for that. But it was so like frustrating because it killed my drive because I was like, I put in so much stuff to set up the next thing only to just like, why even did I bother? And it's like, and that's not anything against any of my players. It was also like, again, it was on me as well. I was the first time I ever GM'd anything, was that. So I had a lot of shit I needed to learn as well, especially about scheduling and setting up stuff like that. But yeah, how players can easily ruin a well laid out campaign. That's why I like, listen, I love it. I love it. Rule number one of being a DM, be excited when your players ruin everything for you. I know it's tricky, but it's fun. I had a whole thing recently because in my Warlocks game, funny enough, I had a whole encounter set up. I was ready to go. There was like this big clash of like three different groups, including the party. And it was super like ready, and we finally came in for that session. I had the whole fight set up, and in my brain, I'm like, this is totally winnable unless something bad happens. But I have a backup plan. But this fight should take the entire like session. And then I had one of my players surrender to the NPC that was trying to capture her. And then another of the players pissed off that same really powerful wizard, and she retaliated by basically getting her arrested by the people who were after her. So the party ended up completely split up. It was towards the beginning of the game. I had nothing else set up for it, and I was like, ah, fuck, because like I didn't expect it just to be done that fast. And it even happened even before in the same game, a session before. They had just like come back from this adventure thing. I planned on giving them like time for downtime, some time to chill, some time to like relax because their characters seemed to have needed it. And I was like so ready. That's what I had set up in my brain. And one of my players did something extremely unpredictable. And without getting into all the details of everything, she essentially told this kid they'd been babysitting this whole time that he's adopted, which is not something that he knew. But something the party had found out. And I was like, oh fuck. And this happened at the beginning of the game, first 10 minutes. And so I was like, oh fuck, because I'd always known in my head, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but I knew that if they told him this, it would like it would implode. Like it would big shit would happen. It wouldn't go down easy and it would be a problem. So I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm like, okay, does he believe her? And I asked her to do a persuasion check because I'm like, I didn't want to just completely brush it off and like ruin this choice. And of course she rolled a nat 20 to persuade. And so this entire thing of downtime I had planned for my players, it's gone. It was turned into a whole fiasco where one of the warlock characters lost her warlock status, got her magic taken away because she pissed off their patron, obviously, and the kid ran away, go chase after him and everything, like none of this was planned, absolutely none of it. And it was insane, but I love it for it because it makes for such an interesting story. And improv is fun sometimes. So yeah, I'm also gonna say I think I'm gonna end the stream here now. Thank you all for listening to my ramblings and stuff like that. But it is starting to get a little late, and I am sleepy, to put it simply. But thank you for coming and listening to my nonsense. Thank you for spending the first 20 minutes of this stream watching me play with click clacky claws. So y'all are lovely. Thank you for partying, and I will see you at some point, whenever